Welcome to the Pooch Parenting Podcast, a podcast for parents with dogs. I'm Michelle Stern, a certified professional dog trainer, mom, and former teacher. Living with kids and dogs at the same time can feel like a circus. I know because I lived it too. Join us as we interview a variety of experts and parents to discuss topics that will make parenting with dogs easier, safer, and less chaotic. Also, you can love living with your dog again. I'll always keep it real, which might even mean that you hear the messiness of life in the background on occasion, but at least you know you're not alone. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about a question that came up from one of my students recently. She wanted to know if it was okay for her dog to lick her baby in the face. She said that she was of the camp that felt like germs make a healthier immune system, but she was also aware of the fact that a newborn baby is sensitive and there might be reasons why it might not be the best idea, both from an immune perspective and also from a grossness perspective, and then finally, of course, from a safety perspective. So I want to talk a little bit about my thoughts about dogs licking babies in the face, and I also want to talk a little bit about how to mitigate something like that when it happens. So first of all, I want to bring up the fact that, I'm going to be gross here, by the way, that dogs lick their butts, and sometimes their butts are gross. I'm speaking from experience with my own dogs here. And so if they go ahead and lick a messy bottom and then they go lick us in the face or our baby in the face, it's probably not the best idea, especially because your baby doesn't have a super strong immune system when it's a newborn. I also frankly don't love the idea that your dog's teeth, which are pretty dangerous, the pointy end of the dog, so to speak, that they're so close to the life-sustaining portions of your baby's body. I don't really see any reason for that. And I do know that sometimes dogs who are curious may walk by the baby and give a little slurp, in greeting, or possibly your baby smells and tastes delicious like sweet milk. And I get that. There's definitely an appeal. However, I don't like the idea that a dog might be licking the baby repeatedly or really focusing on the baby's face, or if a dog is licking a lot and the parent is having trouble stopping the dog from licking. Many of you are aware of the fact that licking doesn't always mean kissing. So while many of us like to tell ourselves the story that our dog must love our baby because the dog is kissing the baby, that's usually not the reason that the dog is licking your baby in the face. So like I mentioned earlier, babies taste delicious. They taste sweet like breast milk or formula. They may taste like spit up, which is kind of disgusting, but that's how it is. And dogs often like to lick disgusting things, as we know. So the baby may smell good. The baby may taste good. And I understand certainly wanting to, lick the baby to help clean up or to taste. But licking can also be a sign of stress. Licking can also be an appeasement behavior where the dog is trying to seem non-threatening. The dog may also be licking the baby kind of forcefully, as if to push the baby out of the way. And so it's really important that we consider the why. Why is your dog doing what it's doing? What are the underlying causes of this licking? And if you're not really fluent in dog body language, and don't worry, most parents aren't, that's okay. I would just avoid having your dog do this behavior in the first place. That way we can mitigate any potential dangers that might be arising during those circumstances. It really does help to work with a dog and child specialist who can help to translate some of these behaviors for you, because they're different for all dogs, all families, all circumstances. And I don't want you to just assume things are fine when they might not be. I'm in a mom's group on Facebook, and this morning somebody asked a question about how to get her dog to stop licking the baby in the face. And there were all kinds of really interesting comments in the thread A couple of the comments were really helpful. They talked about asking the dog for an alternate behavior, redirecting the dog, for example, saying, hey, maybe you could shake my hand instead of lick the baby in the face. And that was great advice. But other people gave some not so great advice, including the idea that your dog has to learn to live around a baby, and so you should never separate them to prevent this kind of behavior, because they're in the same family and they need to learn to be around each other. And then this person went on to say that it would just be better to teach the dog not to lick the baby. And in theory, I don't entirely disagree, but I also feel that it's a super dismissive comment, and it assumes that the family has the dog training skills to teach the dog something like that. It assumes that the family knows something that is more valuable to the dog than licking the baby. And worst of all, I think it implies that it's really easy to teach the dog to stop doing something that it really wants to do. And in my experience, when someone feels like, wow, I must really suck at dog training because I haven't been able to teach my dog to stop licking their baby yet, then we have a crisis of self-esteem and confidence, and maybe they think that other people are better dog owners than they are because they haven't mastered this skill yet. And frankly, when you have a newborn baby at home, it's a miracle just to get through the day. You have to feed everybody, keep everybody clean, keep everybody pottied, fed, watered, etc. Everybody needs sleep. And I think it's a pretty big order to fill to suggest that somebody also build in a complex training strategy while they're sleep deprived and trying to juggle this new life with dog and baby. I think it sets an unfair expectation. I would rather encourage families to implement management strategies that don't require much bandwidth. So, for example, implementing the use of baby gates or pens, for example, or maybe putting the dog on a tie down or on a tether cabled to a coffee table at your feet while you're feeding the baby. That way the dog can still be with you. You're spending quality time together, but the dog isn't leaping up and licking the baby in the face, whether they're cleaning up after a messy breast milk incident or whether the baby spits up, or maybe the dog is just nosy and wants to get up in everybody's business. But sometimes, honestly, simplicity is what's best. I would rather you just implement some simple management strategies while you're getting through these first few weeks and months. And if you can, bring in a specialist like myself or someone else that you can trust who is not only a parent and familiar with, dog and baby developmental stages, but somebody who can give you a lot of support in an empathetic way. Because the stakes are high when you're raising dogs and babies together. And is it normal for dogs to be curious about our babies? Absolutely it is. But does that mean your dog should be licking the baby in the face? Probably not. Sometimes there are dangerous underlying factors. The dog could be extra predatory. The dog could be obsessing or focusing on the baby. The dog's body language might be shifting. And a dog expert will help you to translate those kinds of things. However, in the meantime, I would encourage your dog, if they're going to do a drive-by quick lick, that's one thing. I would try to prevent other kinds of face licking if at all possible. I would just rather have you err on the side of caution. I hope this helps. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Pooch Parenting Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player and leave a review. But even better yet, tell a friend. Are you in some moms groups, perhaps? Or maybe you're friendly with your pediatrician. Please let them know that resources like this exist, because the information that I share with my people goes beyond what most baby books offer, and a lot of parents need support. You'd be doing them a favor. Thanks again. Have a great day.